the second AFC wildcard matchup, we have the Buffalo Bills taking on the Houston Texans. Now, before I dive into it, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe to the channel, you get me one subscriber closer to my goal of 5,000 subscribers. So please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with your friends, co-workers, family, because I upload NFL videos and college football videos daily. So this matchup, the Buffalo Bills taking on the Houston Texans. So the Buffalo Bills are one team in the playoffs and the wild card that you don't want to face on opening weekend. And the reason why you don't want to face a team like the Buffalo Bills is because they have a great defense, but also they're also pretty okay on offense, right? Now, this offense has its up and downs, but this offense going against this Houston Texans defense, you can expect a big day out of Josh Allen. And here's why. So, Houston Texans fans, they comment under this video and they say, oh, such and such has never faced a defense like ours, right? And I remember the Houston Texans were playing the Baltimore Ravens, and Houston Texans fans were disliking the video, saying I knew nothing about football, saying the Baltimore Ravens never faced a defense like the Houston Texans. Lo and behold, Baltimore came and they destroyed Houston, and that defense was non-existent, right? Then Houston plays New England Patriots. They dominate Tom Brady. Everybody believes this Houston Texans defense turned the corner. And I thought Houston's defense turned the corner until I figured out who their defensive coordinator was. All I had to do was look up who the defensive coordinator was for Houston. Oh, Romeo Crennel. No surprise that the New England Patriots got dominated on the offensive side of the ball by the Houston defense. Because when you look at all the former defensive coordinators and former assistants that are coaching NFL teams that used to coach for the New England Patriots, they all have success against the New England Patriots. Brian Flores and his Miami Dolphins beat the New England Patriots last week, and Matt Patricia a year ago beat the New England Patriots on Sunday Night Football. So every time the New England Patriots face a former coordinator or former assistant of their team, they always have a pretty tough time. So we thought they turned the corner, right? But let's take the aspect that Romeo Crennel used to work for the Patriots. Let's take that out the fact, right? So what do the Houston Texans defense do a week after? They get carved up by Drew Lock. Drew Lock shredded and terrorized this Houston Texans defense. So this Houston Texans defense, when it comes to their ability to stop the pass, is non-existent. Now, they are really good when it comes to stop the run. They are above average team when it comes to their ability to stop the run. Now, one thing that's going to be able to help this Houston Texans pass defense is the fact that they're getting J.J. Watt back. Now, J.J. Watt is going to help out this Houston Texans defense tremendously when it comes to their ability to stop the pass, because since the secondary is not good, they're going to have a guy in J.J. Watt who can win those one-on-one pass rush matchups and get added pressure on the quarterback, which is going to help the secondary out because they're not going to have to be able to drop back in coverage for that long since they're going to have J.J. Watt back. So, when you look at Buffalo's offense may be average or below average depending on who you ask. But when you look at this Houston Texans defense, this is a Houston Texans defense that isn't really that good to their ability to stop the pass. So if there is a game now, Josh Allen can go ahead and have a big game like the one that he had against Dallas. This is the game. And Buffalo is a team that if you let them, they can terrorize you all game if you allow them to throw the ball deep. Although Josh Allen is going to have a little bit of inconsistency because of his inaccuracy and his problems that he struggles with when it comes to his accuracy. If you give Josh Allen the time to throw, he can make you pay. And when you look at this Houston Texans defense, this secondary, these cornerbacks, they're not really that good. You signed Vernon Hargreaves, who was a bust for Tampa, and he still hasn't really been that good. So you're looking at Houston Texans defense that I'm not expecting a lot out of this Houston Texans defense. Now, when you look at Buffalo's defense compared to Houston's offense, I think that's the interesting matchup. That's going to be the interesting matchup, right? Because you're going to have Tre'Davious White matched up against DeAndre Hopkins. Now, Tre'Davious White is one of the best young cornerbacks that we have in the NFL today. Now, a lot of you guys haven't really seen a lot of Tre'Davious White play because the Buffalo Bills haven't really had a lot of primetime matchups. Well, go back to that Pittsburgh Steelers game, right? I know the Pittsburgh Steelers don't have a dominant one-on-one wide receiver, but go ahead and watch that game. Tre'Davious White was absolutely a monster, and he tortured Duck Hodges. Right? So you're looking at the Houston Texans offense that has a lot of big play weapons, a lot of big playability, a loaded wide receiver crew. You got a pretty solid stable at halfbacks in Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson, right? But the question is, can you protect Deshaun Watson? Now, if you protect Deshaun Watson, I think Deshaun Watson has only lost one game when he hasn't been sacked at all. But other than that, if you're able to get pressure on Deshaun Watson, you're going to have a good chance of winning the game if you're Buffalo. Now, Houston, they're going to have to be able to protect Deshaun Watson, right? Because, listen, Buffalo is one of the most stout teams defensively in all of the NFL. Their defense is really underrated. When a lot of people talk about the 49ers, the Steelers, and the Patriots defense, but this Buffalo Bills defense is just as talented. Now, Buffalo is really good up front. They have a really stout front seven. And they're also very good in the back end of their secondary. You got Michael Hyde. You got Tre'Davious White as well. So, this is a Buffalo Bills team that is stout defensively. So, the matchup is going to be the Houston Texans offense versus this Houston Texans or this Buffalo Bills defense. Because, listen, I'm not expecting a lot out of Houston defensively. Buffalo's going to put up a lot of points. So, I think the matchup is going to be Houston's offense versus Buffalo's defense. Because Houston has one of the best offenses in the NFL, and Buffalo has one of the best defenses in the NFL. So that's where the matchup lies. Now, JT, Buffalo, in a lot of people's eyes, is the underdog coming into this game. So, how could Buffalo walk out of Houston with a victory and go on to the divisional round? Well, here's what needs to happen. The first thing that needs to happen is Josh Allen needs to continue the stretch that he's been on with not turning the football over. Because every time you don't turn the football over, you force the opposing team's offense to drive the length of the field, and you also don't give the offense good field position. And when Josh Allen doesn't turn the football over, Buffalo is really good. I don't think Buffalo has lost a lot of games when Buffalo hasn't turned the ball over or Josh Allen hasn't thrown an interception. Besides when they lost to the New England Patriots a couple of weeks ago, I don't believe Josh Allen had a turnover in that game, but they still lost. But when Buffalo isn't turning the football over, this is a really good offense. Devin Singletary looks doggone near unstoppable. I mean, Devin Singletary over the last couple of weeks has been on an absolute tear. Now, besides from the Pittsburgh game when he fumbled the ball a couple of times, Devin Singletary is the heart and soul of this Buffalo Bills offense. He is, without a doubt, the best player that they have on the offense. So, Buffalo, if Buffalo wants to walk out of Houston with a game, with this victory, it's very important that they don't turn the football over. Another thing is that you're going to have to be able to get pressure on Deshaun Watson. Have Deshaun Watson back there running for his life. Because, look, Deshaun Watson, if you give him the day to throw, like, go back to that Kansas City game, right? Houston pulled off the upset versus Kansas City. You want to know why? Because Deshaun Watson didn't get sacked in that game. Nobody laid a single finger on Deshaun Watson in that Kansas City matchup. And we saw what Deshaun Watson did to Kansas City's defense. Now, when you look at all the games that Houston has won, when Deshaun Watson has had time to throw, he's only been sacked once or none at all. He's won those games. Now, when you look at Buffalo going against the Houston Texans offensive line that isn't really that good, you're licking your chops right now. Because if you're Buffalo, if you're the defensive coordinator for Buffalo, you're sending all the pressure in the world. You want to sit in the house. Because you want to force Houston's offensive line to step up, diagnose those blitzes, identify the mics and all that good stuff, and force them to protect Deshaun Watson. Give them added pressure, right? And to be honest, I don't even think Buffalo really needs to sit in the house to get pressure on Deshaun Watson. I think Buffalo's defense is just as good against the Houston Texans offensive line if they were just to rush 4 guys. Because this is how non-existent I think this Houston Texans offensive line is going against this Buffalo Bills defensive line. I think, if you ask me personally, this is a mismatch when you look at Houston's offensive line versus Buffalo's defensive line. So, what Buffalo has to be able to do is they got to win up front. Now, Houston, how do you ensure that Houston doesn't get an upset? Well, simple. You protect Deshaun Watson, and that's easier said than done because this is a very good Buffalo Bills defense, and they're very good at getting pressure on quarterbacks, right? So if you're Houston, and you're the offensive coordinator, and you're Bill O'Brien, what do you have to do? Well, maybe you can max protect. Maybe you leave a tight end in there for X protection. Maybe you can leave a halfback in there for pass protection. I'm not really sure if a halfback will really be effective in pass protection versus the Buffalo Bills. But you got to find a way to try to neutralize this Buffalo Bills pass rush. And even then, even if Buffalo doesn't send pressure, they can still get a lot of sacks due to coverage sacks, right? Now, we're not expecting this Buffalo Bills secondary to come in here and absolutely lock up this Houston Texans wide receiving core because I'm not. Even if you are a Buffalo Bills fan, it doesn't matter how good your secondary is. You can't expect to come in here and just dominate this wide receiving group because this is one of the better wide receiving groups in all of the NFL. So if you're Buffalo, and you're getting pressure on Deshaun Watson, and you're in Houston, how do you counter that? How do you counter out the front seven and the pressure that Buffalo is going to be able to bring? Well, simple. You try to dink and dump your way down the field, and then when you get Buffalo lighten up a little bit, then that's when you try to open the game plan up, and you try to take shots deep. Because Buffalo, in my opinion, is probably going to get a lot of pressure early on in this game, and Houston's going to have to be forced to adjust, right? So Houston probably is going to have to run the football. They're probably going to have to get Duke Johnson involved in this game, in the receiving game as well. They might have to do a couple of dink and dunk passes. Then once you get Buffalo's defense to lighten up a little bit, then that's when you're able to take your shots down the field. So the team that I'm taking to win this game, I'm going to take Buffalo with the upset. Now, this might not be an upset to a lot of people, but in my eye, I think this would be an upset, because a lot of people will consider Houston's team to be a lot better than Buffalo, but I think Buffalo's offense is going to have a very good day versus Houston's defense. Simply for the fact that Houston's defense has not really been good this season, besides from the game that they played against the New England Patriots. I mean, you got caught up by Drew Lock, you got caught up by Ryan Tannehill. We're not talking about last week's game when Houston played the Tennessee Titans. We're talking about the first matchup. Ryan Tannehill had a pretty good day. Got caught up by Patrick Mahomes as well. So I'm looking at Houston defense that isn't really that good. And although Buffalo has an average offense, but Houston's defense makes Buffalo's offense look above average. And look at Denver's offense. Denver's offense has been pretty average for the most part. Although Drew Lock has had a couple of great games, Denver's offense was average, and then Houston played them and made their offense look above average. So anytime you have a defense that isn't really that good, you always end up making an average offense look better than what they are. So I'm going to take Buffalo with the upset. Although J.J. Watt is back, I still think Buffalo's defense is going to be decided. I'm going to take Buffalo to win this game. 27-20 is my final score prediction for this game. So let me know who you guys have winning this game down in the comment section down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and college football videos. And thank you for watching.